Hello, Bon Scott, AC/DC, best albums by BS the man. Welcome to my two subscribers. Hi Mum, hi Dad. I thought this is the first documentary I've done, I might as well do it about the one and only Bon Scott. In AC/DC, I think of Bon Scott, AC/DC as like the Beatles, and Brian Johnson, AC/DC as like Wings. I mean, Wings has got a couple of good songs, but there's no comparison. And I kind of think, when McCartney took off, when he lost John Lennon, that's what happened. In a way, Bon Scott was very similar to John Lennon. Bon Scott is like John Lennon if John Lennon was covered in tattoos and had antisocial personality disorder, which actually John Lennon probably did have antisocial personality disorder. And who knows, maybe he got a tattoo of Yoko later on in her life. I can see her guilt tripping him into that to fight the patriarchy or something, but who knows? It's a mystery. Anyway, the idea for this documentary, or me talking on a microphone in a video, a long time ago, I was using something called Facebook that I'd recently mastered, and I made a post about a very little talked about musical niche in popular music, the sex offender song. Yeah, there is such a thing as Pink Floyd with Arnold Layne, The Who with Uncle Ernie. Who else we got? Aqualung by Jethro Tull, Led Zeppelin with Jimmy Page's girlfriend. In fact, most of the rock stars in the 70s girlfriends. Most of them were in the Girl Guides, but and put this list of then I just went AC/DC, their entire discography could be described as being sex offender songs. It's kind of their niche. But I'm a huge fan of Bon Scott. Not sex offenders. I don't think he really was. It was bawdy humour. I used to live near where Bon Scott died. He died in the back of a car from not choking on someone else's vomit, thank God, but his own. So there's some salvation in that, I guess. Poor Bon Scott. I used to live down in Peckham. He died in the back of a car in East Dulwich. He had a very similar death to another very famous musician. I remember watching footage of this musician and going, who does this guy remind me of? And it occurred to me, he looks like Bon Scott. And you know who that musician was? Hank Williams. Check it out. He's got the same mischievous eyes, similar lyrical content. Lost Highway, Highway to Hell, Honky Tonk Angel, Whole Lot of Rosie. I don't know if Hank Williams actually wrote a song about gonorrhea, but he probably did have gonorrhea, but I don't know if he wrote a song about it. That would have been on his second album, maybe, but yeah, Hank Williams. This Bon Scott was kind of the modern day Hank Williams, if you ask me. Love the guy. Now, people think of AC/DC as an Australian band, but as someone who hails from a sleepy resort area of the British Isles on the British Riviera, known as Scotland, I take issue with that. Bon, Angus, and Malcolm were all born in Bonnie, Scotland. Bon was born in Forfar, which is if Dundee is the arsehole of the world, Forfar is 50 miles up it. And here's actually a picture of Bon as a little kid with his daddy. Here he is, coming up. Look at that. He looks like his dad as well. Him on the right, he looks, I don't know, he looks like Hillary Clinton a bit. Not really, I don't know what he looks like. But there he is, Dad's wearing the Highland thing. This is in some sort of cravat or something. This is like the Highland dress. He's probably pinned that into his very skin to show his manhood. That's how butch he was. And Bon, of course, I think he played drums in a pipe band. And when I was young, I wasn't really sure because I knew they were Australian, but then I remember, first of all, their names. Not many Australians call their sons Malcolm and Angus, unless they're from Australian aristocratic background. I mean, Australian aristocrat, that's an oxymoron, but those are very Scottish names. And then I heard the song "Dirty Deeds and They're Done Dirt Cheap," and that is a Glaswegian accent right there. And and I subsequently found out, yep, they were all oatmeal savages who became £10 poms, went over to Australia. Little Angus, I think he arrived when he was like 8 or something. Like, I'm Angus fi Glasgow. What, mate? My name's Angus. This is my brother Malcolm. We're fi Glasgow. Speak English, mate. Speak Australian. I said it 2 years later. My name's Angus, and this is Malcolm. We're going to be in a rock and roll band to take over the world after we finish wrestling these crocodiles. But yeah, Donald. I mean, the first big hit, which I'll talk about later, had bagpipes in it. I mean, so I claim them as a Scottish band. Not that I'm in any way biased. I refuse to admit that. So, what was I going to talk about? Yeah, well, that's about it. So we're going to talk about the four albums that I love by Bon Scott, AC/DC. I'm not a huge fan of uh, Brian Johnson's AC/DC. I mean, they've got a couple of great songs. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. Uh, Thunderstruck, of course, is a great song. Um, for those about to rock. Black and Black, I don't know. The magic had gone. For me, personally. That's just how I feel about it. But these four albums, I was thinking, which one of them is the best album by Bon Scott? AC/DC. So let's start right at the top. Let's do this. See if I can organize this thing. Okay, I've got this one, and I go like that, and I keep that one. Go back to that. So there he is there. You see, you can tell he's Scottish. Look at those teeth. Do they look Australian? That's not a cigarette he's smoking. That's one of his teeth. I think he kept that in for special occasions. So they're not frighten the servants or something. But anyway, here we go. Very, very first international album, High Voltage. Oh, yeah. What a cracking album. Little Angus there in his little shorts, looking like a boy band manager's dream. Yeah. Now look at the songs on there, what we got in here. First song, It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll. That's the my way of my generation, if you ask me. Keep going no matter what happens. Even if you're choking on your own vomit, vomit in someone else's mouth. That's what I would recommend. That's the easiest way to ensure you don't choke on your own vomit, is just to vomit on whoever's next to you. Scott, their songs have a lot of mixolydian, are in the mixolydian key, which means they've got a lot of diminished seventh chords and flat seventh chords and flat third chords. So kind of pentatonic chords on a pen. That's why they sound so great. They call it the Celtic scale. It's very bluesy sounding too. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Yeah, it's kept me going. It's got me where I am today, talking into a mic on my bed. Next one, rock and roll singer. Okay, now this is another contentious idea I have. People say Oasis, the band, are like the Beatles. To me, they're always like AC/DC, especially the first album. You know? Gonna be a rock and roll singer, rock and roll star, singing about getting drunk, all the rest of it. The heavy riffs, the kind of abrasive singing. You know, I kind of think they have more in common with AC/DC, the big, hooligan sort of atmosphere about them, than they do with the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles had that element in some of their songs, but the Jack, next song, She's Got the Jack, which of course was originally She's Got the Clap, which is, I think, a very, very traditional Australian love song. They sing that to each other at their weddings in between strangling wombats. She's got the jack, she's got the clap. Now, back in the 70s, the clap was very, very highly regarded. Everybody wanted it. Many people had it, you know. It was the 70s. It was a badge of honor to have big sores on your genitals. So good for you. If you've got the clap right now, give yourself a round of applause, but don't touch down there in case you leave it on a surface and somebody else picks it up. Yeah. The 70s were amazing time. I always think whenever I see modern Russian TV shows, I mean, they're a bit like the 70s. Yeah. The same sexism that we all used to know and love. They can still get away with that. We can't, unfortunately. Oh well, maybe it'll come back. Probably. Live Wire. There we go. AC/DC. I don't know if you know this, but AC/DC had named their band when 6 months later they found out that AC/DC means bisexual. But it was too late. And I always thought Bon was a bit camp as well. And good for him. Glad to hear it. I mean, the way he would parade around with his shirt off. I certainly got a poster of that on my wall. Not that I've ever looked in it in any unfortunate way. Livewire. I'm alive. Kind of like Hoochie Coochie Man song, eh? Muddy Waters, Chicago Blues. You know, I'm better than you because I've got some form of weapon, I assume, or I'll vomit on you. As I said, that's if you get anything out of this video, it's the use of projectile vomiting as a form of self-defense. I just want to get that across. It's also got that oi in it, right? Oi, oi, oi is one of the few. It's not even multisyllabic, but it's a monosyllabic words that the skinhead culture of the United Kingdom, that was their favourite word. Oi. Basically means hey. Oi. You. Like that. It's like yo for white supremacists. Yo is actually an Italian thing. It's not, a lot of people think it's African American. Yo is Italian. Go, yo. Why yo? It's from Italy. Remember Rocky used to say that all the time? So it's not actually, it's Italian. There you go. Next song, next side two, TNT. I'm dynamite. I'll win that fight. I think I did a shite. All the classic lyrics. All the stuff that would have Shakespeare looking over his shoulder going, whoa, I gotta work on my sonnets a bit more. Next one, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? Well, we had to get down and bring back the subject of sex offenders again. I guess this is the first one. The clap, that's not really so, but Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? Yeah, it's more teenage romance. Maybe it's not sexist. Little Lover. Okay, once again, we're in that territory. Little Lover. But, that's the way they talked back then. It's just teenage stuff. She's Got Balls. Now, that one is definitely not sexist. That was about a woman with a strong sense of empowerment, you know? She's got balls. That's what it meant in the 70s. Nowadays, it's a slightly different context for that particular statement. You don't know who you might be referring to, but let's move swiftly on. Next one, High Voltage. High Voltage Rock and Roll, which is AC/DC's core mission. You think about it, eh? Their raison d'etre. I think they pulled it off magnificently. So out of that first album, I'd say there's 4 great songs. 4 or 5. Long Way to the Top, Livewire, TNT, High Voltage. She's Got Balls is good too. Depends how you handle them. 4 or 5, 4 great songs I would listen to. I tended to skip over the other ones. Next album, the one that was banned because it was dirty, and people thought it might be, how how things have changed, and they think this stuff is dirty compared to these young people what they're listening to. But anyway, Dirty Deeds. Let's do this now. I'll give you the album. There we go. There is Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap. You got one guy on the left. He looks like the lead singer for Dr. Feelgood, Lee Brillo, the 1979 1970s big lapelled suit out of Minder or something. Then there's a guy in the middle, looks like he's from the Village People for some bizarre reason. I'm not really sure. AC/DC, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Brilliant album. What are the songs in this? First one, Dirty Deeds and Done Dirt Cheap. Ugh. We all know that one. That's the Glaswegian accent right there. Dirty Deeds and Done Dirt Cheap. I think I heard George Young actually did that. George Young is Angus and Malcolm's older brother who was a producer, and he was also in another band that had a good Walking in the Rain song. Check out Walking in the Rain. Yeah, that Grace Jones did a cover of. I forget the name of them. They're a good band. George Young. Okay, that's a fantastic song. Logically, it doesn't make sense. One of the lyrics sounds. I should have copy and pasted the lyrics, but I don't have them here. Love at first feel. Now that is the epitome of a Bon Scott lyric right there. Love at first feel. Isn't that beautiful? When you're 15 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, when you think of love, you think of feeling things, feeling yourself, physically feeling things, not emotionally. Those you don't want to have any emotions whatsoever. You just want to feel stuff, soft stuff, the bits that stick out at the top, and the bits that stick out at the bottom, at the back, and then the bit that doesn't really, you can't, there's nothing there, but you still want to feel it. And maybe that's about it. The two bits at the top, the two bits at the bottom, at the back, and the one bit in the front. When you're a 13-year-old boy, that's what love is. You have an incredible desire to feel those five pieces of love. Next one. Another poetic number. Big balls. My balls are always bouncing to the left and to the right. It's my belief that my big balls should be held every night. I've got big balls. She's got big balls. And once again, with see, he was ahead of his time. Gender non-binary, not specific. We've got the biggest balls of the all. That's a cracking song. Love that bit of music hall. Rocker. This one, it's a rocker. 2 minutes and 52 seconds. It's a rocker. It's a roller, a high, out of controller. Rock and roll man. Great live. You know, I haven't. I've kind of given it away, but I don't have Let There Be Light. Not Let There Be Light. Pink Floyd song. Let There Be Rock. Because I don't really like that album. Most of the songs seem to be like rocker, as in, I don't know, they just don't have the melodies or something. They just seem a bit. They don't have the magic. Next one, Problem Child. Similar. It's a great song. I like these both songs. Problem Child's a great song. I repeat the refrain, Problem Child, for 30 or 40 minutes at the end. And when you're a 13-year-old boy, apart from wanting to have love at first feel, you also think of yourself as a problem child because you have to do homework and you have pimples. And life doesn't get really much worse than that if you think about it. I mean, you hear about people on Chairman Mao's, was it the Long March? They walked for 3 years or something in the rain. I mean, that's just a walk in the park, really, compared to having a bunch of pimples and acne. Anyway, next one, side two. So that's five. All good songs. Side two. There's going to be some rocking. That's a real good sing-along one. Puts me in a good mood on that one. This next one's cracking. Ain't no fun waiting round to be a millionaire. Ain't no fun. Hey, Mr. Howard Hughes, get your jumbo jet out of my backyard. My parking lot. Yeah, another cracking song. Ride On. Oh, along with It's a Long Way to the Top. Gotta be my top three favourite AC/DC songs. Maybe top five. Definitely up there. They're only ballad, really. And it's a cracker. They should have done more. I guess they just, I don't know, he was just feeling blue that day. Huge fan of this song. Quite simple chords, the 1, the 4, and the 5 most of the time, but it's unusual the way they put them together. And then, of course, back on the subject of sex offenders, Squealer, which by all intents and purposes is basically describing date rape. I'm sorry. It's terrible. Maybe it was the 70s. I don't know. Squealer. I mean, does that sound. There's an element of coercion in that. I mean, it's literally lifted from the movie Deliverance, where the hillbillies get the town folk and he says to them, squeal like a pig, and they're not imitating you like Porky Pig from Warner Brothers cartoons. He's about to do something very unfortunate to the middle-aged man. So it's called Squealer. It's a bit ambiguous. He says, I held her hand, I made her understand. I should have got these lyrics. I've forgotten them in the pressure. I held her hand, I made her understand. She said she'd never been far before. That's the way when teenage boys we used to think like that back then. Not me. I'd have never thought about bad things. But teenage boys, they thought you weren't sure there was a young lady and you weren't sure if she was going to let you do what you didn't even know what you're supposed to do, but wanted to do it. You're just supposed to do something so you didn't have the shame of being a virgin. And then you were fooling around and would she let you touch this bit? And some girls would let you touch this bit and other girls wouldn't. We didn't like the girls that wouldn't let you touch their bits. The ones that did, we really liked. They were great. God, I remember those girls. You don't believe me. You don't think I've actually had any interaction with the female gender, but I have. It did happen. Miracles can happen. So, Squealer, I held her hand, I made her understand. Squealer, I held her hand, I made her understand. Oh, Jesus, I've forgotten it. So anyway, Dirty D's Done Dirt Cheap, cracking song. Love at First Feel, cracking song. Big Balls, cracking song. Rocker, Problem Child, pretty good. There's gonna be some rock and love that song. Ain't no fun, love that song. Right on, brilliant. Squealer, great. So that's 7 to 9 great songs out of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. That's pretty good ratio there. Right, now let's get to the next one. What is it? Power Rage. That's right. Power Rage. Keith Richards' favorite AC/DC album. You can't really picture Keith Richards listening to AC/DC, but he's supposedly a big fan. Pete Townsend loves him too. You can. If you like rock music, how can you not love AC/DC? First song, cracking, Rock and Roll Damnation. You know, that's all we got going for us, man. You young people have it with the hip hop or whatever the hell it is, and we had rock and roll. It's a long way to the top to run a rock and roll. Rock and roll damnation. Rock and roll toilet paper. Rock and roll, I've got a bruise on my knee. Everything was rock and roll to us. That's a great song. You're young, you're coming up, you got no prospects, you're probably going to juvenile detention center. Your parents hate you, you hate them, you hate society, society hates you. This is your theme song right there. Next one. This was the bass player Cliff Williams' favorite song. I've seen him say in an interview. Down Payment Blues. Doom 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 doom. Got myself a steady job. Can't even feed my cat. Social Security. I love this song. If you're ever feeling down, you know, maybe you're only making 200 to 300 grand a year, you know. The chauffeurs, he's quit. The servants they're not on strike, but they're not in till later this morning. So you had to prepare a boiled egg by yourself. You know, you're roughing it. Put this on. Down Payment Blues. Down Payment Blues. Next one, Give Me a Bullet. Give me a bullet to bite on. Not a huge fan. Riff Raff, brilliant, brilliant riff. Oh, I just got it. Riff Raff, the riff bit. I mean, obviously it's Riff Raff They usually describe themselves as some form of subhuman scum. But there's also a pun there as it's a great riff, I think. Riff raff. Fantastic. Sin City. Another thing people don't notice about AC/DC and Oasis, but especially AC/DC, they've got a Brazilian bossa nova beat, something called a clave, which is do 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 do. You know, this one is do 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 do. Loads of the songs have that kind of not just one, two, three, four, but do that kind of swing. That's why this drumming's so simple, right on right on the beat, 4/4 sort of stuff. It allows the riffs to swing, and this is one of their best riffs ever. Sin City. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, that's what you do with rock songs. You go doom, 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 doom. I wonder if Beethoven did that. Probably. What's next to the moon? Mm, gone shooting. I don't know. I'm assuming that's about domestic violence of some sort. Or maybe it's about duck hunting. I don't know. Or maybe it's about both. Maybe it's about being married to a duck and then going and shooting it. Everybody, the ducklings, the mallard. Maybe you've been cuckolded by the duck's mallard, because he's much better looking than you because he's got an electric green plumage. And you go, anyway, up to my neck in you. That is a large vagina. Excuse my French. Up to my neck in you. God, can you imagine that? The ovaries tickling your forehead. Still, must men have to step up and pleasure our women, as difficult as it can be? We have to do it. It's our duty. Who knows? Maybe within 3 or 4 years they may actually have an orgasm. It could happen. Fingers crossed. Kicked in the teeth. While I was up to my neck in you, the embryo of our child kicked me in the teeth. Oh, that's nice. So that's Power Age. I love Power Age and I listen to it, but that's Rock and Roll Damnation, Down Payment Blues, Riff Raff, Sin City. 4 great songs. The other ones, mm, mm. So that's 4 great songs. So far, we got Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap. And now, let's get to this one. Like I says, I'm not doing Let There Be Rock, cause here we go. Ta-da! Highway to Hell. That was confusing when I was young, cause like, who's the singer? You think who's the guy with the horns? Why is he in the center? Who's the singer? And then you get the guy Phil Rudd, the drummer, who's somehow manages to be shorter than Angus and Malcolm, which is quite a feat. I'm assuming because he's kneeling. And then you got Malcolm there looking literally like the missing link. You know, if you get if any scientists want to try and find the what connects us with various other hominids, Australopithecus. Just too bad Malcolm's not around anymore. He could show us. We tested his DNA. Oh, the video. Angus is wearing a Scottish. Look at that. He's got a Scottish football shirt on. Right there. There you go. There's proof. He's got a Scot. That's a Scot. I used to have that when I was a kid. Exactly the same. Okay. Right. Highway to Hell. First song. Highway to Hell. I'm on the highway to hell. Brilliant song. Love it. Stop. Classic of all time. Girls Got Rhythm. The girls got rhythm. Once again, teenage love. Trying to cop a feel. Trying to get teenage girls to have sex with you, which has never gone away for many politicians. or people, they seem to be the ones. Prince Andrew as well. I think that's his favorite song. Girl's got rhythm. She got a backseat rhythm. That means that's the girl that will go all the way. I don't even think they have conversations like that with the. I think that the young girls today are asking the men or the young boys like I can't think of anything to say. Walk all over you. It's a cracking song. It's a bit. I guess it's a bit offensive. I want to walk all. Yeah, this is it. This is what I was thinking of a different song. Walk out. I want to walk all over you. Do anything you want me to. Hmm. Sexual dynamics. But then you see, when I was young, so well, that sounds very rude and sexist. But then all these choking videos that I've heard about in pornography, and I don't know what adults get up to. It's disgusting. Just keep it to themselves. I want to walk all over you, do anything you want me to. It's still a cracking song. Touch too much. Mm. Beating around the bush. Another sexual innuendo. Shot down in flames. Pretty good. Get it hot. Mm. If you want blood, that's a cracking song. If you want blood, you got it. And then these two next ones I love. Love Hungry Man. Once again, they've managed to take any romance or tenderness out of love that there is, totally dismantle it and destroy it and turn it into some form of sexual coercion, which is definitely the final one, which is kind of fitting. It's a definite sex offender song. Night Prowler. I guess like the Midnight Rambler of the Rolling Stones. I'm the night prowler, asleep in the day. And at the end he goes, Shazbot, Nanu Nanu. Now, you younger people might, what the hell does that mean? I don't know if they still have it on the releases of it nowadays. Basically, what he's doing, he's copying Robin Williams, who used to say that as his catchphrase when he played Mork from Mork in Mork and Mindy. He used to go Shazbot Nanu Nanu, and that was a big craze. They used to have those back then. So, if anything, this video, I hope I've answered that one question. Why on earth does he go Shazbot Nanu Nanu? Just how drunk was this guy? He starts speaking in Klingon or something. So, there you go. Which one am I choosing? I'm choosing Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. If I was on a desert island, that is the one I would choose as the best AC/DC song. Amazing, eh? AC/DC album. I love them all. Doesn't have all my favorite songs, but I think it's one of the most consistent, great songs. The most of them. So this is the very first time I've done this. I don't know, whatever. I saw other people doing it. I'm interested in doing stuff like this. Give my opinion. One day I'll get a decent camera, but this is just easier. And, you'd rather look at Malcolm and Angus and Bond jumping around in my stupid face. So there is there. See, I got the teeth as well. All right. Peace and love and rest in peace, Bon Scott. Peace be upon him, Bon Scott, my savior.